My name's Julia,
Hi,
and
Julia.
my question is, it's more so about religion and
Mhm.
the definition of what religion means.
Okay.
I was reading an article by Clifford Geertz, he's an anthropologist,
Mhm.
and he talked about how religion is a concept and an idea. And you said you studied multiple
Mhm.
religions. So would you consider religion as an idea, a concept, or more so a moral foundation?
Yeah, I think that that's a good question, Julia. I would say a couple of things on this is that religious expression and religious rules vary across different cultures. So you're going to have different versions of those things as well. But as Stephen Prothero out of Boston University, in his excellent book "God Is Not One," this is not written from a Christian perspective. It's written just simply from a cultural or anthropology of religions perspective. He said all religious systems recognize some fundamental things in common. Okay, and they're not all the same. I believe they're fundamentally different and only superficially the same. But in this, he's right. He says every religious system recognizes that the world is not as it should be. It's not the way it should be. Something's wrong with us and with the world we're in. That's why there's rules. Take godless religions like Confucianism or Buddhism. What they're trying to do is actually enhance human behavior in a way that either helps the individual or helps society. Confucius would say duty is everything, whereas the Buddha would say detachment is everything. And so it's self-actualization or self-realization. And the way the Buddha put it was that your self-realization is that you don't have a self. And so you realize your nothingness, and then you stop the cycle of death and rebirth through the karmic cycle so that you can extinguish in one sense. So even in those two, which are vastly different than Christianity, Islam, Judaism, or other forms of religious belief that believe in deities, you have this sense in that the world is not as it should be, and it should be some other way, whether it's annihilation or it's duty and a better society. So they all start with the same starting point. Something's wrong with the world. But they all have different finishing lines. And essentially, they're running different races. So I do think that it is a concept and idea in terms of religion is just simply a label we've put on how people try to make sense of the world. And that can be supernatural, through supernatural explanation, or completely natural explanations, where this idea of duty and even transcendent morality is involved in these things. So it can be simply an idea. But ultimately, the question isn't just, is religion an idea? Because when you say that, it's dismissive. I'm not saying you're being dismissive or he's being dismissive in his statement, but ultimately it's saying that these religious concepts are either equally all valid or equally all invalid, but they're just constructs of our various cultures. But they all recognize something that I think is a universal fundamental reality of life. The world is not as it is, and it should be a different way. Go back to the golden rule, the gap between the world as it is and the way that it should be. So the question then becomes, do any of them point to any kind of transcendent and verifiable or falsifiable truth claims? That's the ultimate question. Because to say that they're ideas is true, but to say that they're merely ideas, I think is wrong. And I don't think wrong in the moral sense, I mean just erroneous. Because they're all trying to figure out a way in which is humanity connected to something higher than each individual human being. And the question is the object of that religion, the foundation of it, and the fundamental premise behind it, is it true? And that's the ultimate quest. They could all be wrong, but they can't all be right, because they say very different things about the world and about each other. And so I would never look at a Muslim, for example, and say, she and I believe the same thing, because I believe there is one God, she believes there's one God, but I believe that God is Trinitarian. One God in three persons, and one of those persons incarnated himself in the person of Christ, and she considers that blasphemous. They can't both be right. The Hindu believes that the self, the Atman, is ultimately divine. The Buddhist believes there is no Atman at all. So they can't both be right. They can both be wrong, but they can't both be right. So to say it's an idea is true. To say it's merely an idea, I think that's the danger.